All right, so the page you're looking at is the last page of the assignment for today, 1-4. It's the last page, the bonus one. We're gonna do the bonus one together, and then you're doing the rest of them, okay? So this is the thing they've given us. The words say something about Nikki. She's a waitress, and she's waiting tables, and this is how much she made after this amount of time, okay? So these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 are the amount of hours, and then this is how much money she's made after that many hours, right? So what should you do with pretty much any table that I ever give you if you figured out at this point now of this unit?
Figure out the constant.
The constant, okay, so and we've called that, I'm gonna have y equals the plus the what are these?
The difference and the
difference
A sub 0.
And a sub 0. Those are the two biggest things. Yeah, and the difference is that constant number that's the same, yes. So what should I do first?
Find the difference.
Find the differences. Here we go. So I have the difference here.
10.
10. That one was easy enough. Difference. Ooh. So we need a calculator for what? 11.33. Sure. Next one. 3 what?
I said 43.
23?
43.
43. Gotcha.
Oh,
Okay, I can't do these in my head. Shoot. And the next one.
give me another one.
12.5. Cool. And the last one should probably also be different. 13.1. Cool. So, is it a constant linear equation?
No.
No. But does it make sense that it's, you don't, as a server waiting tables? I was a server at Chili's for 9 years.
How'd that go?
Super good job. I totally loved it. I mean, it was great. Especially, it's like super good money. As a high school, I worked to go when I was on sophomore, junior, and then as a senior, I was a server and stuff. Anyway, so lots of free food too. Anyway, Chili's, and this message has been sponsored by Chili's. If you want to sponsor this message, please. I'm just kidding. When you make tips, you do not make a consistent anything ever. You have no idea who's going to tip you what, if someone's going to not tip you anything, or you just get a $20 bill, or it's crazy, right? So this makes sense in real life that this is not the same. Now, could you figure out how much you would make per hour, though?
Yes.
Yes. Now, this is the inconsistent differences that we have. Sure, it's the first layer differences. What can we do to them to find our normal or our difference? What would you do with them? Add them up?
Yeah.
And then?
Divide them by.
And what's that called? That process is called taking?
The average.
The average. Okay, we're going to take the average of these numbers, okay? That's the biggest thing on 1-3, 1-4 is the average difference. That's not a perfect difference, so we have to find the average. So I'm taking all these numbers, adding them up, as y'all should be doing right now. Add them all up, you'll get some number, and then I'm going to divide that number.
47.03.
47.03, and I'm dividing it by how many?
4.
Because I have 1, 2, 3, 4 different things, okay? Most biggest misconception is, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I didn't add these numbers together. I added these numbers together, so I divided by that many, right? So what's my average difference now?
It's 11 point, do you want to round it to what?
So I think is it 7.5, 7.5, 7.5?
Yeah.
So I'll just say one decimal place, so I'd say 11.8.
Yeah.
Right, so 7.5, or 0.75 rounds up to 0.8, okay? Cool. Now, what does this represent in real life? Not like number, what does this represent? $11.
Well, roughly.
$11.80, right? $11.80 per table, or per hour, right? Yeah, we don't know how many tables I guess she gets. Okay, so $11.80 per hour. Not too bad, right? Isn't minimum wage or something $10 now?
I think.
No.
Kroger?
$7.25.
$7.25. Hey, that's not too bad then. Hey, let's go, right? So back in my day, it was $2.40 for a server,
It's still that.
but then plus tips. It's still that?
It's
Hey,
still
I'm not too old. But literally my paychecks were always zero because the taxes take it, and then I lived off of tips, right? So anyways, we'll talk about tips here in a second. I have some more math tips for you. Got them. All right, anyway. Got them, coach. But I'm also next level. All right, anyway. This is going great. All right, so that's $11.80 average, right? Okay, cool. So now, what else do we need to find our equation?
The A sub 0.
The A sub 0. So let's go backwards to get the A sub 0, okay? How would I go backwards?
By subtracting the
Minus that average difference that we just got. That's the biggest thing, that the whole steps is, oh, I don't have a difference. I gotta find the average and then use that to go backwards, okay? So I'm going backwards 11.8.
negative 2.5.
Negative 2, negative?
Yeah, you got a negative.
What? What? If you read the question, if you read the next one, it says, Nikki's confused about blah, blah, blah. Is this accurate? Because her equation, she got a negative for the y-intercept, which means when she worked 0 hours, how much money did she make whenever she walked in the door at 0 hours to clock in?
0.25.
She had to pay them? That sucks. You should quit that job. If you have to pay them to work, what? You have to pay them to work and then you make money? That's a rough business. So that's weird, right? This should be weird and you should kind of scratch your head as far as real life goes. What should that number be?
5.
Well, it shouldn't be nothing.
It's 0.
It should be 0, right? When you walk in, you haven't worked at all. That's 0, right? It should be a 0. We'll talk about that in a second. But that's weird, right? So my question to you guys is, why is that a negative 2.5? And if you don't know, pause the video. But I'm sure people are going to be struggling right now to figure. No one's answered this all day today. Why is that a negative slope? Like, how is that even? Why did that happen? Why did that happen?
Because it's like money she could have made.
Yeah, she
I
lost
really
that
like the
money.
could have made. That's a very key part there. The could.
If she had gotten there sooner.
No. If she had gotten there sooner, no. Some people have said taxes. No, it's not taxes. Okay. Any other thoughts? Why is it negative? Okay.
Because math.
Because math. Great answer. That is the most wrong answer. So here's my little tip for you guys here. 6 hours. At 6 hours, how much would she make at 6 hours? Let's just hypothetically. Let's just kind of. What would I do?
She times it by the.
Times it. Whoa.
Not times it. Add it by the
Yeah.
11.8.
So I go 11.8. I'd add on 56.33 plus 11.8, and I'd see how much she makes in the 6th hour of working, which would be about what 60.
It's 68.13.
68.13. Cool. Now, here's my question to you guys. Is this how much she makes in the 6th hour?
Yeah.
I know we just did a calculation. I'm pointing at something. It sounds like a redundant question, but is this how much she made after 6 hours?
Yes. No.
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 That's weird. I like baited you into the wrong answer, which I literally did. I'm sorry. I'm not sorry though. That is not how much she made in the 6th hour. Why is that not how much she made in this? I'm asking y'all weird questions. What?
Because since you don't know who's gonna do the tips, how much?
It has to do with the could and the we don't know, right? The only data we were given was stopped here, right? We don't know how much she made in the 6th hour, 7th hour. If we did, our data could get more accurate. We'll talk about that in a second too. But we don't know how much she made. So this is our best guess. Based on this, we talked about extrapolate, which is to guess into the future with, right? We looked at all this and we're like, the average would be 11.8. So I'm gonna guess with 11.8 that she would be making this much. Would you be surprised if she made 70?
Yes.
She's made 13 in an hour before. She could easily make 70.
Yeah.
She could make 66. And I'd even say, shoot, you don't know what you're making in waiting tables. She could make 80. You don't know.
Some of it
You know what I mean?
$100.
Somebody, you got a big top comes in, they all sit down, you have a big family, it's a big birthday party, and they're like, thank you so much. And then you boom, right? You know what I'm saying? So, my background came out there. So you don't know, right? So that's the biggest thing. You don't know. This is an estimate based on a guess, right? An educated guess.
Yeah.
Now back to this though. Is this how much she made?
No.
No, right? That's a guess based on, if you look at this, how much did she make that first hour? $9, which is, what's the average she should make?
11.
So that's below average, right? So it should make sense that this is negative because that first hour, she actually had a slow first hour and then things started picking up, right? And as you can see, it actually goes up even more, which that's a unit 2 type thing. But she performed below average that first hour, so it makes sense that it was lower, and that's why that is. So now, the second part of that question says, Nikki actually knows how much she made here. How much did she make here when she first walked in the door? How much would anybody make when you first walk in the door and you put on that? 0, right? Yeah. 0, okay? So should she include, or should we include this point?
No.
No.
Interesting.
Because it's nothing. It doesn't even.
Interesting. I'd ask this question. If she did work 6 hours and you're like, hey, Nikki, how much did you make? Who's Nikki? I don't know. If we did have this point and we did have that, should we add that to the table?
Yes.
Why?
Because you know.
Because it's accurate and we know for sure it makes it more accurate. The more data we have, the more, if I only did this, right? If I only took one out, that's not very much data at all, right? So this is kind of like not a life lesson, but it's just a math lesson. The more data you have, the more accurate you become. So we for sure would want 6. So we for sure want 0, right? Because we know that. We know that, right? That's where she started from. In fact, that's really important, especially for our equation. Like she started at 0, right? So now we just did all these calculations and they're wrong. So this is the last thing we're doing. What does this ripple through and change, like a domino effect of things? If I change this, what changes now? And I physically want to show, like as I erase it, what things do we need to now go backwards and fix?
The difference.
Income.
The difference, well, it's not going to be this anymore, right? I
Yeah,
agree
it's
with
gonna
that.
be different.
It's going to be different. Different?
Yeah, different.
Okay. Okay. All right, sorry. All right.
It's okay, Coach.
I got you. So it's going to be different. So what things would change?
The ones that you already, like, beforehand.
Does this change?
Yeah.
No, up.
This doesn't change.
No, the other one.
Oh, this one, okay. So this one is not 11.8, this is now 9.3, right? Because 0 to 9.3, obviously, okay? And then, is this the same now?
No.
Instead of taking all of these numbers together, right, I'm also adding in, right? So now what would that be? 47.03 plus 9.3,
Wait.
because this is now
It's
wrong.
56.33.
56.33 divided by what now? A fifth point. I had more data now. I'm adding a fifth point here. So my new average difference,
11.3.
11.3 if you round that one off. Yes.
I did.
Okay. Nice. And so my equation now, y equals, it was my old equation. Sorry, I should have written this. My old equation, I'll write it in black here. Y equals, it was 11.8x minus 2.5. Okay, remember that? Right? Okay, cool. And that's actually on the page as well. My new, more correct, is it perfect?
No.
No, it's still an estimate, okay? It's 11.3x. What's my a sub 0 here now?
9.3. No, 0.
0. My a sub 0 is 0, so then you're done, right? And that's my answer, okay? So this is, again, not 100% accurate. It's more accurate. It's actually a lot more accurate because it works out for at least all of these cases. It works out for the 0. It makes sense for the starting point as well. And I could better estimate into the future, okay? So now this last part here is just kind of like a real life math lesson here. Why would this be important for somebody who makes tips? Why would I did this calculation. I know I'm a math teacher now. I did not think I was gonna be a math teacher. That's a whole nother story. But I literally, as a server, and I would do this for my other fellow employees, peers of mine, I would calculate this for them. And all they have to write down how much you make every day. And then after 2 weeks, they'd give me the stuff and I'd tell them what their hourly rate was. And they'd be like, oh, because one of my friends was like, I want to work at Old Navy. But they're making this much and they're paying this much per this and that. Should I do it? And I'm like, well, let's figure it out, right? So, or I want to buy this, or can I afford this monthly payment? Can I buy a new car? How much of a car can I afford? Anyway, why is that important for somebody who makes tips?
Because it's literally what their basic one.
You have no idea how much you make, and you can actually have some sort of grounded, now if you did this for a day, I make this much always. No. You want to kind of give yourself some more data. But that's kind of a good place to start from, right? You can kind of know what to expect. So anyway, and stay ahead of the game. My question to you now is, let's buy a car. Let's say Nikki wants to buy a car. We're just making this one up. How much money do you want to spend on a car?
14.
14,000?
Can be brand new.
So you can do whatever you want.
Brand new's better.
Brand new's better? Ooh, I would disagree with that.
I mean, my expression roast book is $500.
So 14,000, that's not bad. That's not bad. Last costed 25,000.
Oh.
We'll talk about that one. Anyway, with $11.03 you make per hour, let's see how long it would take you to buy a 14,000 reasonable car. You could buy a solid car for 14,000. A solid used car. Okay, so what would I do to figure that out, though? How? Multiply.
Divide.
Divide. So what does X represent?
Oh,
What does X represent in real life?
the hours?
Well, this is how much money per
Hour.
hour, right, you worked. So X is hours worked, right? My question to you is how many hours do I need to work to buy the car? So what is Y?
14,000.
What does Y represent?
The price of the car?
Or in this case, it's the price of the car, right? In general, it's I get paid this much times this many hours. That's how much I get paid, right? That's my paycheck, right? So in this case, I specifically know how much I need to get paid to buy the thing I want, or be able to move out, or be able whatever, right? So I'm plugging in $14,000 right here, and now I can solve for the thing I don't know, which is how many hours it would take to do that, right? So I have 11.3 times X. How would I get rid of that 11.3? Divide by 11.3, right? It's multiplying, dividing, opposites and stuff, right? So I cancel those out. I divide by 11.3, and bingo, bango. How many days, or sorry, hours? Hours. 14,000 divided by 11.3.
1,238.9.
We'll just say 139 because, you know, you got to work that last there, right? So, wow. Okay. And this is also assuming you don't spend anything on food or bills
It's a
or anything
start.
else like that. So good luck.